You wouldn't have a Ukraine war going on. But with all that being said, I think it's bigger. It's bigger than if it were more traditional.
Only the second time in history somebody didn't have consecutive terms.
Yeah. Well, they say it's historically bigger. I don't know about that. But I can say it showed us a couple of things. It showed us that the radical left, their philosophies and policies are horrible. They don't work. You look at crime, you look at what's gone on at the border, you look at what's going to happen, the crime that's going to happen. But I think we got there just in the nick of time. But we still have you covered better than anybody. We have terrorists in our country by the thousands. We have murderers in our country by the tens of thousands. We have numbers that came out, 11,000 people that murdered are now free and walking around in our country. And of them, I think 48%, they say, killed more than one person, and they're walking around. They came out of jails from other countries. And, you know, people, they've emptied their jails. I would, if I were the president or prime minister or something of another country, I'd empty my jails right into America, into the United States. Why not? And many of them did it. If you look at Venezuela, their crime rate is down now 78%. Because they took their street gangs and they moved them into the United States. And you're seeing that in Colorado and Los Angeles and other places. And we're going to take care of it.
So did Biden really say to you when you came up to the front of the White House, welcome home?
No, did somebody say that?
I read it somewhere.
I don't know. Maybe he did. I really don't know.
So you left him a letter. It was funny with Peter Doocy, and Peter said, oh, Mr. President, did Joe Biden leave you a letter? He did leave you a letter.
He did.
And you had left him one, but you've never disclosed either one of them.
Well, a lot of people
now would be a great time.
You know, it was interesting. A lot of people thought it was sort of like a setup with Peter Doocy and myself, and I have a lot of respect for Peter. But he just asked me a question about the letter. And then I remember that, you know, it's like a custom. You leave it right in the drawer of that beautiful desk right alongside of us. And so I opened it up, and I actually gave the letter to Peter.
And did he got to read it?
I guess. I haven't.
You don't know if he read it?
Yeah, I just sent it to him a little while ago.
All right. Before we get into, there's so much substance. You are inheriting a lot of problems, a lot of things that actually scare me. Yeah. And I want to get to all of that, but I will get to all of that.
All solvable problems, though.
I agree.
They're all solvable.
Not easy.
With time, effort, money, unfortunately. But they're all solvable problems. We can get our country back. But if we didn't win this race, I really believe our country would have been lost forever.
Were there moments, I mean, when you think of what they threw at you, and I know you signed this declaration about no more weaponization, and we know that the preemptive pardons came up on Joe's way out, but you were facing a civil trial, a criminal trial, conviction, sentencing, Jack Smith, D.C., Florida, Fonnie Willis. I mean, you fought through all of that to get back right here in this office. What people don't know is over there's a little red button you push. You scare people. People think it's the nuclear button, but it's really, you know,
something else.
It's you use it for a different purpose. But the question I have was: at any point, did you doubt you would be back here?
So it's a great question. It's something I don't think about. I never really thought about it. I don't think about, gee, will I be back? I just do it. I get it done. I get things done. I'm good at getting things done, and I set my mind to it. As you know, we had a great election in 2016. I had a much better election in 2020. And if I didn't have that election, I wouldn't have run. If I thought that I didn't get the number of votes, and it was reported that I got almost 75 million votes, and that was their numbers. That wasn't the numbers. That was their numbers. That was more than anybody has gotten in history, any sitting president had ever gotten. And you lost. Had I gotten like 50 million, or 40 million, or 60 million, I would never have run. But that was like a poll. So, but I had a different attitude. Too big to rig.
Poll came out just in the last 24 hours by Insider Advantage. That's Matt Towery. He nailed 2016, 2020,
Right.
and 2024. Great pollster, as you know.
Right.
And he gave you a 56% approval rating. He also said of Congress, and I had a town hall with members of Congress last night, that 70% of respondents want Congress to unite behind your agenda.
I watched that show. It was a great show. And you had some great people in the background.
Yeah.
I know every one of them. And they're really patriots. I just saw the love. You know, as the speaker, who was doing a terrific job, the speaker is answering questions. And I saw the acknowledgement and the love they had. And those are tough people behind him. You know, these are not easy people.
There are others that are tougher.
I said, well, I don't know. This is a tough group if they want to be. They're not, nobody much tougher. But they're very unified. I think they're going to do a great job.
But they have a small majority. You went through over 200 since we've got here. And we have breaking news today that we'll get to in a minute. And especially as it relates to the border and some other issues. But you're going to need to do some of these things legislatively. You will probably play the largest role in uniting them both in the House and Senate. Reconciliation, the Senate has very strict, rules governing how they can do it. Do you, one big beautiful bill, two bills, do you care at this point?
I don't care as long as we get to the final answer. I like the concept of the one bill. I guess I said one big beautiful, and that's what everyone faces. Actually, it's sort of a nice sound to it. But I do like that concept. It could be something else. It could be a smaller bill and a big bill. Right. But as long as we get to the right answer. Now, I will say that Los Angeles has changed everything because a lot of money is going to be necessary for Los Angeles. And a lot of people on the other side want that to happen. And
North Carolina, too.
Fast. Well, they don't care about North Carolina. The Democrats don't care about North Carolina. What they've done with FEMA is so bad. FEMA is a whole nother discussion because all it does is complicate everything. FEMA has not done their job for the last 4 years. I had FEMA working really well. We had hurricanes in Florida. We had Alabama tornadoes. But unless you have certain types of leadership, it gets in the way. And FEMA is going to be a whole big discussion very shortly because I'd rather see the states take care of their own problems. If they have a tornado someplace, and if they let that state, Oklahoma is very competent. I love Oklahoma. 77 out of 77 districts, and that's never been done before. I did it 3 times. I mean, think of it, 3 times, never been done. Ronald Reagan had the record, 56 out of 77. I got 77 out of 77. So you have to love a place like that. I love Oklahoma. But you know what? If they get hit with a tornado or something, let Oklahoma fix it. You don't need. And then the federal government can help them out with the money. The FEMA is getting in the way of everything. And the Democrats actually use FEMA not to help North Carolina.
It makes no sense.
So I'm stopping on Friday. I'm stopping in North Carolina, first stop, because those people were treated very badly by Democrats. And I'm stopping there. We're going to get that thing straightened out because they're still suffering from a hurricane from months ago. And then I'm going to go to California.
Will you meet with Gavin?
I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. Look, Gavin's got one thing he can do. He can release the water that comes from the north. There is massive amounts of water, rainwater and mountain water that comes due with the snow, comes down as it melts. There's so much water, they're releasing it into the Pacific Ocean. And I told him, it's a political thing for the Democrats. I don't know.
I played the tape. You said it to him in front of him in 2018.
I said it to him in front of the media and everything else, and nobody talks about it. The media never picks it up. You put it out. I was so happy to see that tape because some people said, is that possible? They have water coming down from the Pacific Northwest, which is a lot of water. So much water that they'd have to let some of it go at some point. They don't need reservoirs. They don't need, and they're spending all this money on these reservoirs, and they're fake reservoirs. You know,
But
they're
the
concrete.
reservoirs were empty, the hydrants didn't work, and they're not practicing the science of forestry, which
Their
is
sprinklers didn't work in the homes because they had no water. Think of it. We have sprinklers. Think of it with no water. They didn't have any water.
I
The
didn't know you
fire
had
hydrants,
sprinklers
yeah,
in
believe
them.
it, hard to believe. The place has sprinklers. It's nice. But you don't want to lose this office. By the way, how do you like it?
well, I'm glad. It's great to be back. I'm not going to lie.
You know, I've had the biggest people in the world come here.
Yeah.
And they come into the Oval Office, and they just look, and they want time to look. They're looking around. George
amazing.
Washington, Abe, Honest Abe.
One day, maybe we can do a tour. We had a conversation, and maybe I shouldn't disclose this, but I will. And it was after the 2020 election. And you asked me a question, and we've known each other for 30 years, so we have a friendship and we have a professional relationship. And the question you asked me, maybe in the end it will be better that if I came back in 4 years. And we talked about history. After World War II, Winston Churchill was thrown out, but they brought him back. Grover Cleveland is the only other American president that did not serve consecutive terms. And my answer to you was, I thought it would be bigger if you came back.
It's turning out to be bigger. And I think one thing is happening is people are learning that they can't govern and that their policies are terrible. I mean, they don't want to see a woman get pummeled by a man in a boxing ring.
No.
They don't want to see men in women's sports in other ways. They don't want to see them, and they don't want to have transgender for everyone. They don't want a child leave home as a boy and come back 2 days later as a girl. A parent doesn't want to see that. And there are states where that can happen.
Oh.
They don't want to see taxes go through the roof. Like, this is the only group of people that want to raise your taxes. They say, we want to raise your taxes. You know, if they don't work with us on the Trump tax cuts extending, that would mean it would go back to the taxes. We got the largest tax cut in history. That would mean the taxes would go up more than any tax hike in the history of our country. And normally you'd say, that's got to be the easiest negotiation in history, because if they did that, how could they ever win an election? But they'll fight us on that. They fight us on things. It's incredible.
Here, I ran into...
They don't use common sense. In my opinion, the Democrats don't use common sense. And that's
common
why
sense
they
won the day in the election.
Yeah, but you know the amazing thing? I'm watching now. Now it's time, and, you know, a few months have passed, and the election's over, and you see what happened, and it was a rout. I won all 7 swing states, and we won by millions of votes, the popular vote, millions. And nobody can even believe some of the numbers. And how about with African Americans, with Hispanics, with everything, how well we did? Nobody can believe the numbers. How about with youth? I won youth by 36 points. Now, maybe that's because I went on TikTok. I don't know. But I'm starting to have a very warm spot.
TikTok is going to be sold, right?
I think TikTok's going to maybe stay around.
People like
I'll tell you,
Senator...
people want to buy it. People want to buy it.
But those that say they know say it's a spying app for the communist Chinese.
But, but you can say that about everything made in China. Look, we have our telephones made in China, for the most part. We have so many things made in China. So why don't they mention that, you know?
Let me get to
the
some
interesting
issues.
thing with TikTok, though, is you're dealing with a lot of young people. So
they love it.
Is it that important for China to be spying on young people, on young kids watching crazy videos and things?
I don't want China spying on anybody.
No, but they make your telephones, and they make your computers, and they make a lot of other things. Isn't that a bigger threat?
I'm sure that'll be part of your discussions with President Xi, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. Let me go to the border. We do have breaking news today. I ran into Tom Homan as I was walking in today. Right. And so far, 308 total arrests, 296 detainees, and the first deployment of military assets to the U.S. border. The deployment includes active duty troops in the National Guard.
Right.
And here's my biggest fear and concern beyond the Iranian assassination squads is we now know 14 million. We don't know how many gotaways. We don't know the total number. But we have known terrorists in our country. We have known murderers, rapists. We have violent criminals, cartel members, gang members. Now, I would imagine if you came from Iran and Syria and Egypt and Afghanistan and Russia and China and Venezuela, you didn't come here because you want a better life for your children. I would imagine those known terrorists are planning an attack on our homeland. At a moment's notice, you're going to be in this desk, maybe sitting at this desk or maybe up in the residence, and they're going to call you down in the Situation Room because our homeland is under attack. I would like to be wrong, but when you have known terrorists, you have to believe that they are going to attack our homeland. Mm-hmm. That would change their trajectory, that moment of your entire presidency. That has to weigh on you.
Yeah, it could be. And I know I've watched you for a lot of years, and you actually make one statement before you say that. You say 100% certain.
I do.
That's a pretty big statement.
And then I say, I pray to God I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong too. And I won't comment, but I tend to agree with you. It depends. We'll see what happens. Look, we have a lot of great people right now, a lot of great people on this situation. This was a gross miscarriage of common sense to allow people to come in. And I believe the number is 21 million people, and a large percentage of them are criminals all over the world. This is not just South America. This isn't, we talk Venezuela, that's a big abuser, but these are countries from, these
Iran,
are the
Syria?
Congo, countries that you don't even think of. The Congo has emptied their prisons out into the United States. We're not thinking about the Congo. We're thinking about South America. It's much more than South America. But prisons from all over the world have been emptied out into our country by Biden, allowing it to happen. I don't even know if he knew what the hell was going on. But who would want this? I always say to people, you always like to understand, like in a business here, you want to understand the other side. Why do they want something, et cetera, and you figure it out. And there's usually an answer, almost always. I don't understand, why does somebody want open borders where, and they say the vote, okay, but I did well with the Hispanic vote, if you're looking at Hispanic. They say they do it because they want to think they're going to stay in power, it's going to be better for Democrats. I don't really believe that. Besides that, they cheat so much, they don't have to do that. They cheat so well, they're very good at cheating. The only thing they're good at really is cheating. But here's the thing I ask. Why would somebody say that open borders are good, where jails and mental institutions from other countries and gang members right off the streets of the toughest cities in the world are being brought to the United States of America and emptied out into our country? Why would anybody that even likes, you don't have to love our country, you have to like it. Why would anybody that likes our country, the Democrats, allow that to happen? And even now, I watch them on television, they're trying to justify it. You can't justify it. The only reason it can be is two reasons. You're stupid, and I don't think they're stupid. I think anybody that cheats that much and that well is not stupid. You're either stupid or you hate the country. Those are the only two reasons. Sean, who would ask for open borders with people pouring in, some of whom, I won't get into it, but you can look at them and you can say, could be trouble, could be trouble. There are people coming in.
There are people with gang tattoos on.
There are people coming in with tattoos all over their face. Their entire face is covered with tattoos.
That identifies
Typically, he's not going to be the head of the local bank.
Part 2 of my exclusive interview with the president, only moments away. Stay with us as we continue from the White House.
Oh, I just got the word that I'm on mute. Did y'all vote for Trump in both elections, or did you just vote for Trump during this election? And my apologies. I don't know why the camera's coming through like that. Let me see if I can fix that a little bit, but you guys still should be able to hear me. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be some interesting times that we're living in the next 4 years. I'm inspired. I'm motivated. I'm encouraged. I really think that Trump is going to be, even though a lot of people will say that he's a divider, I think that Trump's going to bring the country together. I really think that he sees that everything that y'all are saying, I think Trump sees that, and he sees it as an opportunity. He realizes that he really may be able to solidify himself as one of the greatest presidents of all time. He really may be able to do that. If he stops the war between Russia and Ukraine, it seems like he's already off on the right foot when it comes to Palestine, Gaza, Hamas, however you, and Israel. If he's able to stop the issues at the border using Tom Homan, getting some new policies in with the executive orders, if he's able to boost the economy, I mean, just those 4 things, wouldn't that have to land him up there somewhere in the top as the greatest president of all time? Y'all tell me. All right, let me see what some folk are saying. So Wrath White wrote, both love this country, USA. Yeah, that's what we rocking with. It's Team America. It's America. It's America first. That's what I'm on. That's what I'm on. So if you're not on that, then chances are we probably won't see eye to eye on most things. But that's what I'm on. I don't know why this is so bright. Let me keep going. So Eileen said, I voted for Trump 3 times. I love this man. Trump is not a divider. Biden and Harris were terrible. All right, so I did not vote for Trump, and I don't even want to get into all that. But when I first, I'm sorry, I did not vote for Trump before. I voted for Trump this year. I don't want y'all getting mad at me or anything, but I voted for Trump this time, and I was one of those people that got caught up in the whole Charlottesville incidents where there's very fine people on both sides, and MSNBC, CNN, CBS, all these liberal mainstream platforms have me thinking like, yo, Trump's racist. He said there's good people on both sides talking about Nazis. And then it took me 8 years. I'm telling y'all, I did not know. I had already started opening up to Trump. And when I opened up to Trump and seeing him from a different perspective than the mainstream media was highlighting him as, that's when I finally saw that he did not say the things that they were trying to paint him as saying, when he clearly condemned the neo-Nazis and white supremacists. So there's been a lot of fear mongering. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people are just voting for the Democratic Party just because culturally that's what they've always done. I'm being totally honest. As a Black person, I was brought up, you vote Democrat. It wasn't even something that really needed to be said or, proven like, Mom, Dad, why are we voting Democrat? It was just a thing. I'm being totally honest. It was just a thing. I was brought up thinking that the Democratic Party, that was the party of the people. The Republicans, those were the mean old racist white people. I'm just being honest. And I'm so glad that I was able to open up my perspective, because I would have been walking around America probably very miserable and angry, like a lot of people are walking around, and most importantly, walking around with an ignorant perspective, because I was so emotionally engaged into disliking Trump for things that he didn't actually do. It blinded me from actually seeing what was actually happening, seeing that he was actually the guy that it doesn't matter, Democrat or Republican, all of them disliked him. The Republicans are just on board with him now because they see the power that he has and he's representing the Republican Party. But in my opinion, Trump is just Trump. Like Trump, I don't identify him as, oh, Trump's Republican. Trump is Trump. Trump has his own message, has his own energy, what he pushes. And to be totally honest, like I couldn't see it. It's like what is this saying? You couldn't see the forest through the trees. I don't even know if that's the right saying, but I'm telling y'all, I could not see who Trump was. The person that I see right now, and I have to ask myself whether or not, like, damn, like even getting to Eileen's point where she said she voted for Trump 3 times. I thought that people that voted for him the first time were legit racist. I'm like, yo, you got to be racist if you're voting for him. So imagine how limited my development would have been if I didn't take a step back and say, like, something just ain't hitting with these Democrats. It seems a little fishy. So hold on, let's get back to it, and I'll try to fix the camera in the meantime.
Exclusive interview. What do you do? Sanctuary states, by definition, or sanctuary cities, they're aiding and abetting in the law breaking. Okay, they're going to get federal funds.
Yeah. We're trying to get rid of them. We're trying to end them, and a lot of the people in those communities don't want them. You know, California is a big
Would you
example.
cut off their money?
I might have to do that. Sometimes that's the only thing you can do. Look, California is a great example of it. If you actually polled the people, they don't want sanctuary cities, but Gavin Newsom does, and these radical left politicians do. And you know, if you asked them why, they couldn't even. I watched Gavin Newsom try to answer that question. He was unable to even answer. He looked like an idiot. He was unable to answer. I asked him one other question. Why is it that you don't want millions of gallons of water a day pouring throughout California? You know, the farmland in California is, they say, the equivalent of Iowa, great land, but it's got no water. And you sit there, and it's literally, you can see it burning. It's on flame.
Sure.
All they need is water in that big farmland. And I ask them, why? How is it possible that you're not allowing this water? They divert it out to the Pacific Ocean, where it drops into the ocean. And you know what it's like? It's like nothing. To the Pacific Ocean, it's like 2 glasses of water. It's nothing. Millions of gallons of water is diverted way up north in California into the Pacific Ocean. That water, you know, they have the pipes and everything. It's half pipes. You see them all the time, half pipes. People live in those half pipes now. You know, they have homeless living in those half pipes. But this is water that millions of gallons of water a week and a day in some cases, you know, depending on the flow. So much water they wouldn't know what to do with it. Your sprinklers would be filled. They can even, remember when I took criticism because I said you have to manage your forests? The head of a country that lives in forests, a number of them actually, Finland told me this, Austria told me this, the head of Austria, head of Finland. And it was beautiful the way they expressed it. They said, we live in a forest. We are a forest nation. That's beautiful, isn't it, to say that? We have trees that are the most magnificent in the world, far more beautiful than what they have in California, and much more flammable. Mm-hmm. He said, we don't have forest fires. We manage our forests.
You can get a degree in forestry.
Well, they'll do cuts, yeah. Can you imagine? But you don't need much. You have to clean the floors of the forest. You know, when they had forests, I go to see some of the sites I watched in California. They use billions of dollars of money. And they do say, you know, I mean, look at what happened. Los Angeles, that's like a nuclear weapon went off, what's happened to Los Angeles. And, you know, that thing went for 4 or 5 days. Nobody was even fighting it because they didn't have any water. Their fire departments aren't funded properly. And the firefighters were brave as hell. They were fighting without water. I mean, they turn on a fire hydrant, there's no water that comes out, and they're sitting, and the fires are rushing at them at 30, 40 miles an hour. Those firefighters were brave. What happened to that state is incredible. And then you listen to, I remember when Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom were debating on your show. Yeah. And Newsom's talking like, everything's great. Oh, everything's great, just great, just great. More people left California this year than ever have left in history before the fire. But look at it. Take a look. And, you know, the amazing thing, these are wealthy people. Many wealthy people lost their homes. I saw somebody on television, one of the wealthiest people, one of the most powerful people in the country, being interviewed as though he were a vagrant. His shirt was, and you have to know him, he's a mean, horrible human being. He's a tough guy, very tough guy, a horrible person. Yeah. But he's very rich. And
he's rich, but he's a horrible person.
No, he's a horrible human being. I know you have rich people that are very nice, but this guy's a terrible person. So I say, that's so-and-so. I said to Melania, I said, look at it. They were interviewing him as a guy that lost his house. He said, they took my house away. And he's literally in his underwear and his T-shirt. It looked like he just got out of the bedroom. And I say, that's one of the wealthiest guys in the country. Look at this guy. Take a look at him. Someday I'll tell you the name, maybe after the interview. Okay. But you won't even believe it. But he was on television as somebody that, and he was complaining they wouldn't let him go to his house, which was on fire. They wouldn't let him go because, you know, they don't want him to die. No, some of the wealthiest, most powerful people lost their homes. And it looked like our country was helpless. This fire was just raging, and then it would catch to another air, another air, another air. There was nothing. It took a week and a half, and I've never seen anything like it. We look so weak.
Will you give? Obviously, Americans want to help other Americans in need. Okay, fair enough. We do that. We got to help the people in North Carolina. They've been suffering.
Well, you know
We agree.
that's what I want to do. That's why I'm stopping there first.
You're going to stop in California.
I'm stopping in North
Should
Carolina
the money be
first.
contingent on them practicing the science of forestry?
Well, I think this. I'm going to put a statement out today, I think, and maybe it's already written. I said, I don't think we should give California anything until they let water flow down into their
It's from the north to the south.
This is a political thing. I don't know what it is. You know, they talk about the Delta smelt. It's a little tiny fish like this.
I went out.
They say it's an endangered species. Well, how is it endangered? No wonder it's endangered. It's not getting any water. How do you, if you have a fish and you're stopping the water, isn't that going to hurt the fish? You
I
know?
did a show in 2009 from the San Joaquin Valley, Devin Nunes' district.
Right.
And they wouldn't give thousands of acres of farmland water to protect that.
By the way, you see that now. I
It's
drove
crazy.
up the highway.
The
I was
Delta
with
smelt.
Devin Nunes, another Republican congressman, and I looked at these vast areas of land, and it looked like it was just burning. It was dark. It was dry. And then there'd be a little patch, little tiny patch of green, beautiful green. And I said, why? How come all this land has these little patches? They said, that's all that we're allowed to farm because we have no water. I said, are you having a drought? No. They've turned off the water. They turned off the spigot from up north in order to protect the Delta smelt.
Let me move on to the
And by the way,
economy.
I don't really believe it's the Delta smelt because nobody could do that. It's not endangered either. They have it in other locations, et cetera, et cetera.
They're doing seemingly everything they could do, like New York is in many ways, to chase people away.
No, but could you imagine today?
It's crazy.
When people, and the press doesn't like, when I talk about the water that they're turning into the Pacific, the press never wants to put it on. The fake news. They don't want to put it on, Sean.
You do realize that you have permanently tattooed into the forehead of legacy media the term fake news. You do realize they spent 9 years, 9 years attacking you from the moment you came down that escalator, and they didn't stop. And here's the interesting part to me, is that all of the attacks, all the weaponization, all the FISA warrants, all the Russia, and we can go on, all the various venues, the J6 committee, which kept out a lot of pertinent
And
information.
how about the J6 committee? I call it the unselect. You know, they say the select.
But they didn't win.
No. What they did was criminal. That's why they got pardoned.
No, I'm saying
they deleted and destroyed all of the information that they collected
else
over
would they
2
need a
years.
pardon?
And you know why? Because it proved I was right. All of that information was deleted and destroyed. They deleted all of the information having to do with the 10,000 soldiers that I offered to Nancy Pelosi, and she's now on tape admitting it.
I have 4 of the 5 people on tape, and General Milley was the 5th in writing, all saying that you authorized it in the days leading up. The Capitol Police Chief asked for the Guard, was begging for the Guard. Muriel Bowser, in writing, denied the use of the Guard.
But Nancy
That
Pelosi
story
even
was,
more strongly denied it.
she said that.
She was responsible
She
for the
took
whole thing.
responsibility.
She was and she took responsibility for her daughter.
Yeah.
When it was exposed, they found the daughter's tape, a videotape of her mother saying that she was responsible. And you know what? And they tried to lose it. But
Let
wait
me
a
move
minute.
on to the economy.
Unselect, remember this, the Unselect Committee, these people that were appointed, all Democrats, plus 2 worse than Democrats, that's crying Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, who lost her congressional seat by more than any person in the history of Congress. She lost by a number that nobody has ever lost by. You know why? Because usually when you have a poll and you're down by like 40 or 50 points, you're smart enough to drop out. She should have dropped out. At least she wouldn't have that moniker.
Before I go to the economy and foreign policy, as long as you brought up this topic, Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, who got a preemptive pardon, all these people that got pardoned, Anthony Fauci, did he know that NIH money through the EcoHealth Alliance was funding the Wuhan Virology Lab? There seems to be text and messages and emails that went back and forth. You talk about the Unselect Committee, as you call it, the January 6th committee. they had a predetermined outcome. General Milley, all these people, the Biden family members. Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving in your first time.
He thought, he heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. And we had people that suffered. They're incredible patriots. We had people that suffered. You had Bannon put in jail. You had Peter Navarro put in jail. You had people that suffered. And far worse than that, they've lost their fortunes. They've lost their whatever, their nest egg, paying it to lawyers. And those people, and people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him. I mean, the money went to him.
Should Congress investigate that?
Well, I don't know. It's, you know,
Well, you ordered the DOJ.
I've always been, look, he didn't give himself a pardon. And he didn't give some other people a pardon that needed it. And I heard Schiff went to him and just begged him for a pardon, because Schiff is a crook. Yeah. Schiff is a crooked guy. He's a crooked politician. He made up the story about Russia, Russia, Russia. He totally made it up. You know, he's a storyteller. And then after he made it up, they found out that there was a tape of the conversation made by, you know, I guess the State Department. I don't know. When you make calls, they make tapes sometimes, not all the time.
He was the one talking to the Russians.
So he, in the meantime, made up the conversation, totally made it up about quid pro quo. There was no quid pro quo, just there was a perfect call. Tim Scott was the first one to come. He read it. He said, "This is a perfect call. What are you doing? You're impeaching a man for a perfect call." It was Schiff, Hillary, the whole group. You know what? They should. Schiff is just a bad, sick guy, and he went to Biden and he demanded a pardon because he thought he did something. He knew he did something.
Benny Thompson won the chairman of that committee.
Benny Thompson destroyed, along with
Texas.
Wi-Fi diseñado para...
That wasn't me. It was the TV. Don't get mad at me, all right? Don't get mad at me. I'm still going to have it on in the background for y'all. Hold on.
Clinically backed to support healthy liver function. Dose is designed to give your liver exactly what it...
Yo, what y'all think about Fauci? What do you think about Joe Biden pardoning his family, but also pardoning Fauci, pardoning General Milley, pardoning? It's like, aren't Democrats supposed to be the party that is above the law? I'm sorry. I guess I said it correctly. Aren't the Democrats supposed to be the ones that say nobody's above the law? Isn't that what they were saying when it came to Trump pardoning certain people? Isn't that what they've said about pardons in the past when Trump was saying that he's going to pardon the January 6ers? And what do y'all think about the January 6ers? Because what I've noticed is that a lot of these liberal platforms, whether it's MSNBC, CNN, they all have their contributors, their influencers, whatever you want to call it. They have their people that jump on there and they criticize Donald Trump's pardons for January 6th. And the question that always comes up is, or the statement that always comes up is the fact that, oh, well, some of those people, they were assaulting police. Okay. All right, cool. Let me just ask y'all this. How much, and obviously it's not the majority of them. How long do you think, like, this is what I would ask people who say, like, oh, those people were assaulting police. How long, let's just say, do you think somebody should get locked up for assaulting police? I've seen this time after time where, somebody's a police officer's trying to arrest somebody and they may fight back. How much time do you think of their sentence is just designated to assaulting the police officer? Or I'm just wondering, because people act as if these people haven't served any time at all. That's the feeling that I get when I talk to a lot of these people. And then to just totally justify stuff that Biden did with his whole family. It's like all of this stuff has been adding up. It's all been pushed as a conspiracy theory because the Democrats have the mainstream media on their side. So therefore, the same thing that they got the CIA. Remember that the CIA agents, they had 51 agents. I think Trump just got rid of their access, thank God. But I think that those were the ones that signed off saying that the Hunter Biden laptop was not real, saying that it looked like a hoax, a Russian hoax. And then it came out that not only was it real, but I believe that they even had it in their possession because it was one of it was part of their evidence in their report that they did. So it's not making any sense. The Democrats are not consistent in their messaging, in my opinion. And everything that I hear when I talk to Democrats is like, well, Trump pardoned such and such. Well, Trump pardoned. It's like, if Trump pardoned these people, it's like, which is worse? The person that does something because they think that it's the right thing to do. And then you got the other side criticizing that person for doing something. And then as soon as they get in the same position, they do the same thing. So it's like, did you believe this was okay all along? Or did your morals, your principles and values change based on Donald Trump? I can respect Donald Trump because Donald Trump is direct. He communicates directly. And that's probably the most fear that he puts in Democrats' eyes, because it's his way of communicating. He removed all that politically correctness. Nobody's trying to listen to a Barack Obama speech where like we feel like we should feel good, but then we kind of turn around and we're like, well, what exactly did he say? We want to hear direct communication. We want to hear what's going on with Israel and Palestine. We want to see Trump come out and say like, yo, this needs to end soon. We want to see Trump sit down with the rabbis and say, yo, we're going to have to wrap this up. We can't have this going on we want that straightforward, direct communication, the same communication that he had with Gavin Newsom that could have prevented, or at least I would think they could have helped the firefighters fight a lot of those fires. And from everything that I've read on the fires, it seems as if they would have opened up whatever, I don't know, whatever valley or however they would have got the water from Northern California and Canada, if they would have opened that up, it could have made whatever did happen with the fires. It could have been, I don't want to say preventable, but they would have been able to deal with it better, or at least it wouldn't have blown out of proportion as it did. Let me take a look at some of y'all comments. I'm going to pay attention to the video in the back. I don't think that the interview's over, so we'll keep looking, but let me MWD wrote, Dr. Fauci is an American hero. Are you trolling or are you for real? Because if you're for real, I'll address it. But if you're just trolling, then all right, I get it. I hate Joe and Fancy. Suspicious. He was just doing his job. Hold up. I guess you weren't trolling.
President Donald J. Trump. So you did run for him. You were very straightforward. You said you would pardon these people that were sentenced for January 6th.
No, totally.
You did. The only criticism or pushback I've seen is about people that were convicted or were involved in incidents where they were violent with police. Why did they get a pardon?
A number of reasons. Number one, they were in there for 3.5 years, a long time.
Right.
And in many solitary confinement, treated like nobody's ever been treated so badly. They were treated like the worst criminals in history. And you know what they were there for? They were protesting the vote because they knew the election was rigged and they were protesting the vote. And that you should be allowed to protest a vote. You should be allowed to. You know, when the day comes.
You shouldn't be able to invade the Capitol.
No, ready? Most of the people were absolutely innocent. Okay, but forgetting all about that, these people have served horribly a long time. It would be very, very cumbersome to go and look, you know how many people we're talking about? 1,500 people. Almost all of them should not have been, this should not have happened. And the other thing is this, some of those people with the police, true, but they were very minor incidents, okay? You know, they get built up by a couple of fake guys that are on CNN all the time.
Nobody watches.
They were very minor incidents, and it was time. You have murderers in Philadelphia. You have murderers in Los Angeles that don't even get any time. They don't even collect them, and they know they're there to be collected. And then they go on television and act holier than thou about this one or that one. You had 1,500 people that suffered. That's a lot of people. Do you know, there were new people 2 weeks ago. They were looking, wait a minute, they were looking to charge new people. They have a woman who's 76 years old that they said made a statement that was a little bit out of line years after the fact. This was a political hoax. And you know what? Those people, and I'm not saying in every single case, but there was a lot of patriotism with those people, a lot of patriotism. You know, they did a recording, and you know, they asked me if I'd do the voiceover, and I did. Yeah. Do you know it was the #1 selling, whatever you call it nowadays, album, whatever, song,
CD,
whatever you call it. You don't know, it changes every year, right? But it was the #1 selling song, #1 on Billboard, #1 on everything for so long. People get it. They wanted to see those people
American
released.
people were aware. You told them what you would do. Joe
Well,
Biden,
they voted for
Joe
me.
Biden said he would not do it. Let me move on to the economy,
By the
because
way,
it's so
excuse
important.
me,
It was such a big, yeah,
I was very clear about it.
very clear.
I said I was going to release him, and probably very quickly. And they voted for me, and I won in a landslide. And that was only one of the many
And Joe
reasons.
said he would not do preemptive pardons back in 2020. Chuck Schumer said it. Schiff said it. They all said it. The media said it.
The precedent that he set on pardons is amazing. That's a much bigger story, but people don't like talking about it. He pardoned everybody, but he didn't pardon himself. And remember this, those people that he pardoned are now mandated, because they got a pardon, to testify, and they can't take the Fed.
Should Congress investigate that?
I think we'll let Congress decide.
Would you want the Attorney General to investigate it?
You know, I was always against that with presidents and Hillary Clinton. I could have had Hillary Clinton, a big number done on her.
Have you changed your mind?
And I didn't want to. Well, I went through 4 years of hell by this scum that we had to deal with. I went through 4 years of hell. I spent millions of dollars in legal fees, and I won. But I did it the hard way. It's really hard to say that they shouldn't have to go through it also. It is very hard to say that. Joe Biden, remember this, Joe Biden got very bad advice because, like he has in everything.
Hunter's laptop.
He got bad advice on Ukraine. He got bad advice that war should have never started. He got bad advice on Israel. He got bad advice on the way he got out of Afghanistan. We should have gotten out with strength and dignity, not like a bunch of losers. Joe Biden has very bad advisors. Somebody advised Joe Biden to give pardons to everybody but him. They wanted to take care of. Yeah, but Sean, they wanted to. I don't care.
They're yelling at me.
This is more important because right now the economy is going to do great.
I want to know about
I'm
the
here,
economy.
so the economy. But you have to understand, he had bad advisors on almost everything. It's like in the old days when the Secretary of State said he never made a correct decision on foreign policy. Joe Biden got very bad advice.
You've been through, you had 2 would-be assassins. You came within a millimeter of losing your life in this whole process. I know you kind of are somebody that compartmentalizes because I've known you so long, but do you ever think, and you said this in your inaugural, that you really believe God saved your life so that this was your destiny? Explain that.
Well, I do believe that. I've had people that really know a lot about guns. And they said that gun, that particular gun, in that beautiful field, as I called it, in Pennsylvania, which it is, Butler, that gun's a very accurate gun, and that a bad shooter would hit the target 100% of the time.
You can't miss.
Okay, from that distance. Yeah, from that distance. I mean, to me, I don't know as much about it. They said it's like for a golfer sinking a 1-foot putt from that distance. And my son Don and my son, both of them, Eric, they're great shooters. Both of them are great shooters. And they said it's amazing, it's a miracle. I think it affected them because they can't believe that happened. I turned. If I didn't turn, when the turn was like split-second perfect timing. So something happened, and I don't think you can call it just luck. The chance was like 1/8 of a second, or we wouldn't be sitting here. Think of it, in a volume of time, 1/8 of a second, I was in the right position.
Do you believe that moment, people say to me, they see a change in you. Do you believe you've changed? Is this, for example, increased your faith in God?
Yes, I think so. I don't think I've changed, but I think that has taken place, yeah. Because when you look at statistically, I should never be here. I mean, if I don't turn I'm looking at an immigration chart, my favorite chart ever in history. Yeah. Even if the numbers were bad, I would. I mean,
we're talking about assassination, and you're telling jokes.
No, can you believe it?
But it's terrible.
No,
I remember that day like
when I turned, and it had to be at an exactly 90-degree angle, and I said, throw down the chart or something to that effect, and they bring the chart, and I'm literally looking exactly at the right angle. I couldn't have even been a little further or a little bit less. It would have whacked, because it was 1/8 of an inch. The entire ride was 1/8 of an inch.
Will you investigate these assassination attempts? And you stated that you will release the files, all of the files, as it relates to the JFK assassination. And by the way, this is his desk.
Yeah, that's right.
This is where
That's
John
right.
Kennedy, little
That's
John
a
Kennedy.
movable door.
Yeah.
It's a little door there. That's where John was.
John, yeah. And RFK, and also Martin Luther King Jr., and that you will be transparent. This was going to happen in the first
So many
term.
people have asked me to do that. And I did it with Kennedy to an extent.
Right.
But I was asked by some of our government officials not to. And, you have to respect them. I was actually asked by Mike Pompeo, who's Secretary of State, not to. And I felt he knew something that maybe, when he asks you not to, you sort of say, why? And he felt that it was just not a good time to release him. And you might ask him why. Maybe he'll deny that even. But he did. He asked me. And some others also, though. They didn't want the Kennedy stuff released. And they're professionals, and I respect them. And they're working for me and the country. They're working for the country. And so I didn't release. But I'm going to release them immediately upon we're going to see the information. We're looking at it right now.
More Hannity from the White House as we continue.
If Trump releases these JFK files, oh man, I want them to be released. I really only think there's only a few things that can be on them. It has to be some type of government involvement. I don't know whether it's the Democrats. I don't know whether it's Lyndon B. Johnson. I don't know if y'all watch Alex Jones's show, but Alex Jones put out a clip. I actually put it on our show last week, and I got a little nervous, and I took it, I put the clip up, and I was going to talk about it, but then I took it down because I just couldn't believe, I was like, yo, is this true? It's already been said. It's already been said. So if you look at the post of what Alex Jones put up, the clip of the video, where it's talking about the government involvement in the JFK assassination, you can understand how that could potentially be a huge issue. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know what's going to happen from it, but I could imagine that there's a lot of powerful people who would be put in a very compromising position by them releasing not only the JFK files, but the MLK files. And then what were the other things? I think there was somebody else that he was going to release files for. It was JFK, it was MLK, and then I think it was another Kennedy? I'm not sure. However, it could get real spooky if they start releasing this stuff and people start getting called out. And was it RFK? Oh, and RFK. Okay, yeah, good luck, Zeke. And it was RFK, Robert F. Kennedy. So it I don't know, like transparency, I'm always gonna err on the side of that, lean on the side of that. Yeah, I want transparency. Because you know why? If there's no transparency, even if transparency brings about some serious issues for our country right now, transparency is the only form of accountability that we have for our government. It's the only checks and balance system. Let's just be honest. When they talk about checks and balances, there are no checks and balances when it comes to the government. We see the things that our government has done. We see the pardons that Biden put out. We see how the country operates. We see how a lot of these non-elected bureaucrats, they are the people that are really running stuff, not the people that we elect that only have a short term. We see what happens. Transparency, and it's the only form of accountability that we have from our government just doing certain things. Our government is supposed to be of the people, right? For the people, by the people. That's what our government is supposed to be. So how can we make decisions as citizens about what is best for us and our country if we don't have all the information? Not having all the information, when we think about, look at the things that we're talking about right now when it comes to the fake news. Look at the things that I was telling y'all before, the reasons why I used to hate Trump. And it's because I was getting fed certain things. I was being fed certain things my entire life, but especially when it came to mainstream news outlets, when Trump decided that he was going to run, and it had me looking at him a totally different way. They tried to get me overly emotional, using all the fear mongering, all this stuff, to the point where I actually really disliked him. And it's from a lack of information. Most people that I talk to that are Democrats, most of the people that I'm around that I engage in these conversations with, I shouldn't say most of them, but a lot of them are Democrats. And when I have conversations with them, it's really either two things. It's either they're just super emotional and they don't even want to hear anything good, positive about Trump. They've already made up their minds and they're so emotional. They can't even see things from a different perspective than they did when they walked into the conversation. The number two thing is they just have a lack of information. And when I say a lack of information, if you only watch MSNBC, if you only watch CNN, if you only watch ABC, if you only watch liberal mainstream news outlets, then you're only going to have a perspective that they want you to hear. You're only going to have a perspective of Rachel Maddow, of Joy Reid, of Van Jones. That's not of Don Lemon. Like those are not the people. That's not. It's not a big enough perspective. They're trying to sell us on something. They are no different than a rapper trying to convince us to go out here and do some dumb stuff, or that they're doing dumb stuff and trying to get us to do that stuff, trying to get us to believe that stuff. It's a movie. Just like we don't believe in Santa Claus, why would I believe in Joy Reid? She's getting paid to push a particular agenda. Same thing as Rachel Maddow. Same thing with a lot of these other, you can't even call them journalists. You can't even call them journalists. So once again, transparency is the only thing. Transparency is the only thing. Let's get back to the show. My apologies.
White House just 2 days after taking office. More of this interview coming up tomorrow. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have left for tonight. In the meantime, let not your heart be troubled. Greg Gutfeld standing by to put a smile on your face. Have a great night.
All right, so we're not going to watch Gutfeld. So for all y'all that are about to leave, I know you're about to leave. Hold on. I know you're about to leave because the interview's over, and I know that's what you came for. But can you please do me a favor and just like? It's going to help boost the algorithm. We do these shows 3 times a week, live stream. It's a lot of work that goes into it, so we appreciate if you are able to just like. If you're really feeling the show, maybe tap in, subscribe, turn your notifications on. And tap in with us, because these are the conversations that we have throughout the week. We're always looking to build always looking to build, always looking to have just genuine conversations in a space that we can have disagreements, we can have debates where you have to explain exactly why you feel the way that you feel. This is the space that's for that. And and when I say a safe space, it sounds so corny to say a safe space, but in all actuality, like debate has been discouraged. Like we didn't grow up with debate. And I think debate, the reason why we don't grow up learning how to debate, learning why debate is important, that's why now we just have arguments. Now we just have people just throwing out rhetoric, mainstream news outlets. They can say whatever they want, and there's no accountability because it doesn't matter. People just want to hear the things that they want to hear and be proven right rather than to actually learn something. Debate is so important because it allows us to learn, see the other person's perspective, see what's going on from a lens that we're not seeing the world through. So let me I'm gonna try to catch up with some of y'all comments. Wow. All right. Oh, Glow. Shout out to Glow. I liked, very nice meeting you, and I followed. Appreciate all y'all that subscribe, follow. One of the things that we were going to talk about today, I got a prediction for y'all, was this Mayor Eric Adams interview with Tucker Carlson. So Mayor Adams did an interview with Tucker Carlson, I thought was very impressive. And there's a certain language that Mayor Eric Adams speaks. It's not as direct as Trump. It's direct. Trump is just a direct, straight shooter. It's rough, but the fact that it's rough, it almost makes it easier to digest, or you believe in it more because it's like he's not trying to make it a pretty picture or make it feel good like a Barack Obama speech where he's gonna, do a fake sip of water and try to convince little babies in Flint, Michigan that the water that they're drinking is safe. I don't want that. I don't need that pastor talk trying to make me feel good. I need you to give me the information, like as raw and uncut as possible. Mayor Eric Adams, the Democrats are going to miss out on perhaps their candidate who could run for president with the most potential. He has that same type of communication style as, well, I don't want to say it's the same language, just in maybe a different, I don't know, you know how languages have, maybe it's a different twang, whatever you want to call it, than Trump. But Mayor Eric Adams, matter of fact, hold on, that's what we're going to take a look at. Well, let me catch up with the comments. If y'all tell me that y'all want to look at it, like I said, we do our shows on Wednesday, so I already had a full show planned out. But my big bro Doug, he sent me a text letting me know that Trump was going to do the Sean Hannity, so that's why we pivoted and said, "Oh, we got to cover Trump." But what are y'all thoughts? Let's just stick to Trump. My apologies, but Eric Adams is obviously connected to Trump. I could see Eric Adams. Let me ask y'all this: could you see Eric Adams switching to the Republican Party and potentially being a candidate or being in their party, or being a part of their admin? I would assume that JD Vance is somebody that would be in line to run next. But I'm telling y'all, Mayor Eric Adams, the way he called out these Democrats, the way he calls out the extreme left rhetoric that's used. I mean, obviously he got indicted by Joe Biden's, DOJ or whatever, Department of Justice. So he's obviously not on great terms with them. But he was saying stuff like he couldn't even get a meeting. He couldn't even get a meeting. And this is to Trump's point that he was discussing in that interview with Sean Hannity. Did y'all feel like he was giving Joe Biden some grace? I felt that he was being very compassionate with Joe Biden, almost as if he felt sorry for Joe Biden. And I'm not surprised by it, because I actually do think that Trump feels bad for Biden. I feel like Trump knows that Biden was not the one making these decisions. And as these reports come out more and more, you realize like Biden was barely, he was barely functioning. If he didn't get his 13 hours of sleep, he could barely function. If he didn't have a good morning, then they're canceling the rest of the day's meetings. And Mayor Eric Adams said that he couldn't meet with Biden. They wouldn't let him meet with Biden. And it was other people that were making a lot of these decisions. And I think it's the same thing how Trump looks at Biden. Biden did not do all these things. There was let me show y'all this clip. I don't know if you guys are Valuetainment fans, but there was a clip earlier today that I wanted to show y'all. That it was the Speaker of the House, I believe, where he was saying that he tried for like 8-9 weeks. He could not get in contact with Biden. Now, here's the person that's gonna, if something happens to Biden, something happens to Kamala, he's the next president. And he still could not get a meeting with him. Let me try to see if I can find this for you guys. I really would love for you. All right, here we go. Mike Johnson. So take a look at this clip. You guys tell me how you feel about this, because can you imagine that? You can't get a meeting with Biden. You're either the mayor of the largest city, the engine of this country, New York City, and you can't get a meeting with Joe Biden. And then there's, I believe, so Mike Johnson, he's the Speaker of the House, right? He's the person that something happens to the president, something happens to the vice president. He is the president. And for 9 weeks during critical times, he could not get a meeting with Joe Biden. Do y'all I know I'm preaching to the choir, because I'm assuming that most of the people on here already are against Joe Biden. But when you think about it and break it down to that point, it gets very scary, very scary. So take a look at this video and you guys give me your thoughts. Hold on, let me switch it a bit. There we go. All right, let's take a look.
This is important, and I'm going to show you a chart. Rob, go ahead and play this clip with Speaker Johnson with Barry Weiss.
I do stand by it, and I say this without any personal animus at all. I mean, in some ways, I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He is not, obviously, has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it. And it's been very, very concerning to me over the last, year and a half since I've had this position.
Can you tell us a story when you say personal observation? What kind
well,
of
I
thing
mean,
did you see?
it's public now because the Wall Street Journal got it and put it on the front page. But January a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I had been asked. I became Speaker in October 2023, and there were all sorts of big national security concerns and everything going on. And I started requesting a meeting with the president because I'm kind of old school. I'm a constitutional law guy. Speaker of the House should be able to talk to the president, especially in times of great national interest and calamity.
Yes.
But they wouldn't let me meet with him, and his staff kept giving excuses. This went on for like 8 or 9 weeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't have time.
8 or 9 weeks?
What are you talking about? I'm second line of the presidency. He has time. I need to talk to him.
8 or 9.
Can you imagine? 8 or 9 weeks, they're sheltering the Speaker. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, they're sheltering him. They're not allowing who's running the country? Who's running the country? And what's so funny is in the interview, this is why I want y'all to take a look at that Tucker Carlson, Mayor Eric Adams video. When he finally spoke to Biden, I'm getting them confused because him and Mike Johnson kind of said the same thing. But I believe it was him saying that when he eventually spoke to Biden, he said that, hey, do you remember doing, like, there was something that he did, that Biden did. I forget exactly what it was, but he's like, they're like, why would you do something like this? Really hurt the people. And Biden's like, I didn't do that. Biden had no idea. He wasn't even aware that his team did it, that his administration did it. Here's the president. It was an executive order. And Biden was not aware of it. Imagine that. An executive order that's supposed to come from Biden, and he was not aware of it. These people, I don't know whether it's Barack Obama. I to be totally honest, I don't think it was Kamala. If she was a more capable person, I could see her doing it, but I couldn't see her leading that charge. I'm thinking more Nancy Pelosi, or what's the other guy? Is it Chuck Schumer? I forget. Let's keep going.
We had, I can't say the classified parts, but we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill Press Corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, the CIA director, everybody. And then, so I walked in the Oval and I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the speaker on Ukraine.
Watch this.
That's what it was. This is probably third week of January. We sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, oh, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander-in-chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. This is very important.
Listen,
I got
folks,
some
it's
big
coming.
national security things I need to talk
Listen.
to you about that I think you know, and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question?
This was it. This was it.
I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me, stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said,
Bingo.
Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order, 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he was saying. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know.
You can pause it right there. To me.
Damn. Think about that. Who was running the country? This is why, when things don't make sense, we got to question it. So when it comes to a Joe Biden, and y'all do me a favor, please like. It's going to help boost the algorithm. I appreciate it. Thank you in advance. But when things don't make sense, there's so many things that the Democratic Party did that just did not make sense to me. I could not make sense of it. And I'm like, why would Joe Biden do this knowing that it's going to make him look crazy? And then you start to think when you put that together with the fact that we've been saying on this channel for years, Joe Biden, he has a significant cognitive decline. He walks, if you go to a nursing home, then you see how the people walk. He has a nursing home walk. I'm just being honest. He's older. I had grandparents that went through dementia. So I understand maybe, and obviously all of it's not the same. It doesn't impact everybody the same, but it seemed like he had early stage dementia. And he's actually seems like he functions, compared to somebody that has early stage dementia, he functions pretty well. But I guess in short bursts, that's what we're realizing. But Joe Biden, when you have things that just don't make sense, and then you have somebody in Joe Biden who it seems like he doesn't know what day of the week it is, that is how they're able to push these things through, whether it's Barack Obama, whether it's Nancy Pelosi, whether it's somebody else, because they're saying oh, my name's not on it. See, this maybe is why Kamala Harris had to say when she was on The View, and I think Sonny Hostin asked her, what would you do differently than Biden if you were the president? What are some things that you would do differently? And she said, nothing comes to mind. Because maybe there was their team. Maybe it was Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and then little Kamala on the side who are making a lot of these decisions. And I'm telling y'all, this is what I see. And I realized earlier that, and I realize this every time I have a conversation with somebody that's dislikes Trump or acts like, well, it's not that I'm a Democrat. No, you're a Democrat. You voted Democrat your entire life. You're a Democrat. You hate Trump. You're a Democrat. Don't tell me you're not I'm an independent. That's the new thing. The whole Stephen A. Smith. It's that may sound good, allows you to play both sides, but in all actuality, you're a Democrat. And what I see in these conversations with a lot of Democrats is what I used to see in myself, perhaps, which was, I'm just trying to make my point. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to shift my mindset to say, you know what? Let me look at this a different way. I used to be the super Black Lives Matter. I can't stand them anymore, because what happens is you realize that certain people are playing with you. If you don't give me all the information, you're playing with me. It's the same thing when it came to football. I remember when I was getting ready to decide whether or not to give football give it another season, give it another go. And that's when that movie Concussion came out. And I relate everything to sports. It just is what it is. That's what I do. It just makes things a little bit easier for me. But the NFL hid a lot of information that was coming out on concussions. I was offended that you hid it from me because I was one of those players where if you tell me that, I'm going to figure out something after football. I'm not going to be one of these guys where it's you play in the NFL and then after that, you just fall off a cliff. No, I was raised a certain way to where sports was not my number one. My parents raised me a certain way. So therefore, I was always confident that after sports, I'd be able to just be just as successful or more, to be totally honest. And I always said, like, if the NFL just told everybody, then it wouldn't have been an issue. Just tell 99% of the players are still going to play. But the fact that you hid that information, that's what makes it wrong. And I just see, like I said, there's a transparency issue. There's and it's a lack of information, a lack of understanding. There's a lot of ignorance there that causes a lot of hate, that fuels a lot of this hate. And the Democrats and perhaps maybe the Republicans, because I told you I separate Trump from the Republicans, but it's something that the political parties have been able to leverage for a very long time in getting us to hate each other. And they know that the more that we hate each other, they both have more power. So it's like you may say, well, one side may not do it as much. You may be right, but they both are obsessed with power. It seems like more than they are obsessed with prioritizing the American citizens and doing what Donald Trump has said he's going to do and make America great. So let me, I'm optimistic about the year. I'm optimistic about this year. There's a couple things. Let me actually there's a couple. I want to ask y'all this now that we got a big crowd. So one of the things that when I think about Trump and I think about one of the things that first turned me off from Trump, this was earlier when I was still caught up in the whole BLM movement, caught up in the whole BS Democrat liberal movement, just on that Democratic plantation, so to say. One of the things that offended me was when Donald Trump came out and said MAGA, like make America great again. And I just couldn't understand. I'm like, yo, make America great again. Like, when was America great? Like, when was it? All these things were running through my mind. And we touched on this the last show, but I had a couple more points on it where I asked myself and I asked a few people, when was America ever great? And what would that look like if America was great? For all the MAGA folk, Trump folk, hear me out. Hold on. The plane has not landed yet. And it made me realize that a bunch of things, that America is almost that dynasty, that sports dynasty. I told y'all I relate everything to sports, where America has become that sports dynasty where you see the Golden State Warriors and they win one and they win two, they bring KD, and it's like, yo, they're going to win for the next 20 years. You see these teams that are so good and you're like, yo, how are they ever going to lose? They're going to be a dynasty around for a very long time. But what happens? That role player, they start to see the grass greener on the other side. They start to think that there's another team over there that, oh, I could make more money on that team. I could have a stronger role on that team. I'll be more appreciated on that team. And that's what I see has happened with America. I know last what was it, Monday, on the show, I was talking about how could I imagine Black people who were 5 years removed from slavery, how they would look at the privilege and opportunity that is available to us in America right now. And it shifted my entire outlook on what the American dream is and what a great America would be. And think about the sports dynasties too, right? You go to another team where the grass is greener on the other side, but let me kind of try to land the point. It made me realize that what makes America great to me is that when I think about what it takes for me to be successful, when I think about my goals financially, when I think about my goals for a relationship, when I think about my goals, overall wellness and fitness, there is absolutely nothing stopping me from achieving anything. And I have some audacious goals. Some would say they're arrogant goals. It is what it is. I really truly believe that I can accomplish anything that I'm willing to work for in America. That may not be the case in other countries. That may not be the case. When I ask people, when they make all these complaints, oh, that's racist, or these successful people over here, they're only successful because of white supremacy or all these advantages that they had. Yeah, they may have had some more advantages. So what? When I just focus on me and I ask myself, what is holding me back? What is preventing me from accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish? What is preventing me from becoming a millionaire? Absolutely nothing but me. That's my American dream. When I wake up and I know that I can accomplish anything that I want to accomplish, that I can live an amazing life, that I can drive. I'm in Miami right now. That I can drive to Coconut Grove, that I can drive by Star Island, that I can jump on a yacht, that I can do all these things and look at these amazing homes and these amazing lifestyles and these amazing cars that people are driving. And there's nothing preventing me from getting those things. Nothing. Are there challenges? Of course, there's challenges to anything. But there is not anything where it's like, oh, you can't have that, or you can't, or this is held against you. No. Matter of fact, everything that you hold against me, I see as an advantage, because if you look at me as less than, just like on the field, if somebody's defending me and they think that I'm not good, then that just gives me more of an opportunity to run by you and score a touchdown. It just is what it is. So I've just completely shifted my way of thinking. I don't know what's going to be great for everybody, but I feel like America has, and I feel like this, going back to the example that I was using, if I was like removed from slavery 5 years, let's say, the conversation that I would have with myself would be like, damn, you realize how much opportunity y'all got? Y'all just waste it. Kids can't even read. You relying on the school system, and Baltimore kids, none of the kids can read at reading level. Chicago, none of the kids can read at reading level, and y'all blaming the teachers. Do you know what that person back in the day would tell me? They would say, we taught our own to read. Matter of fact, we learned to read when it was against the law to read, but it was prioritized because it's like people want what they can't have. When people have all this privilege, when everything's going well, when America has become this dynasty that just keeps winning, we take stuff for granted. And there's a group of people, in order to try to get power, they'll convince another group of people that, hey, those successful people up there, they're only in power because they step all over you. They use you. They cheated to get there. And then they get the people at the bottom extremely mad, hating the people at the top. And they create this dynamic where they convince the people at the bottom, where it's like, hey, you should be able to be up there, but the only way you're going to be up there is if you support me, because I got your back. This is the mental manipulation, the games that they play. This is it's terrible. So what ends up happening to dynasties? Not every team is going to be the Patriots. What ends up happening to most dynasties? Players start feeling themselves. They start thinking the grass is greener on the other side. If the grass is greener on the other side, if America is not the best country for you, then why don't you go somewhere else? For real. I'm not telling you leave, go somewhere else if you're just trying to make the country better. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, me, the type of person that I am, if I thought that I had a better opportunity to accomplish the things that I'm setting out to accomplish, to raise and grow a family in a different country that was better and more conducive to me gaining the things that I'm looking to get out of life, then I would leave. I would explore it. People just talking. People just say, oh, America, complain about America. You complain about America so much. Have you even Googled another country that you would think about living in? No, because you're just talking, because you're just repeating talking points. All these rich celebrities that said that they would leave the country if Donald Trump won, where are you? You're still here complaining. Robert De Niro, are you heading out or are you staying? Let us know. Meanwhile, where you're actually leaving is California. Like Trump said in that interview, California has had the most amount of people leaving California in I don't know how long, maybe ever. So you're talking ish about the Republican Party. You're talking ish. You're talking ish about Trump. You're talking ish about Trump, but meanwhile, you're leaving the Democratic ran cities. Those are the ones that you're complaining about. The Democratic ran states. Those are the ones you're complaining about. Chicago residents, the black folk, they're complaining about their Democratic leadership. They've had the last 2 mayors have been Democrats. They have both been black. You got an LGBTQ one in Mayor Lightfoot, and then Brandon Johnson. You got him in there right now. Who's getting stuff done? Remove the race aspect from it. I am not a critical race theory type of guy. Remove it. It's going to distract you. It's too triggering. It becomes too toxic, and it distracts us from accomplishing the things that we act as if or say that we want to accomplish. So I know I just said a lot. I just I just don't get it. And the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because I wish that people really understood. I wish my family members really understood. I wish my friends really understood, because what you would do is you would wake up with a positive mindset, inspired that you can have anything that everybody else can have in this world. Put together a plan, be willing to sacrifice for it, be willing to work towards it, take the proper steps and be consistent. And there's nothing stopping us from being there. Energy is undefeated. Like if we put the right things in action, if we put them in play, eventually we're going to have an opportunity that gives us, if we capitalize on it, will give us everything it is that we want out of life. Now, maybe I'm just delusional. Maybe I'm seeing it the wrong way, but you know what? My delusion is probably going to set me up for more success than if I wasn't delusional, maybe. If I didn't think highly of myself, if I didn't think highly of the opportunity that I have. I live in America, bro. I rep America. That's what I'm repping. I'm here, so I'm here. I'm embracing it. I'm repping it, and I want my experience to be the best experience that I can have in this country. Are there gonna be certain things that need to be improved? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I intend to prove those or to correct some of these things. But the only way that you correct things is to win, right? Is to be successful. To the victor go the spoils. So here we spend more time complaining about trying to level the playing field than actually just getting better and winning and then trying to fix things after we win. It's like, so, and this is where it's so funny where it's like you'll complain, and I'm talking to the community right now. And actually anybody that really rocks with the Democrats, because it's been a party of just embracing victimhood, to be totally honest. So if you embrace victimhood, I'm talking to you. And maybe some of y'all that talk to a lot of these type of people, maybe you experience these same things. But when I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there. I got so many things going through my mind, but I just know that for me, I'm going to be my best when I'm waking up and seeing things as an opportunity. And the point that I was going to make is this. When I said I lost my train of thought, when we spend so much time, effort, and energy trying to level the playing field, trying to beg people, it's like the same people, America's racist, America's white supremacy, right? It's run by the man. So then why are you complaining to the man and begging the man to change the rules, to level the playing field, to make it easier for you to compete against the man if the man's racist, if the man's white supremacist? Oh, you thought that Democrats were the good people and it was the Republicans that were racist. So that's your mindset. But then when I have other conversations with you, you're talking just as much ish about the Democrats. So my strategy is just figure out a way to win. Teach me the rules. I don't care if they're fair or not, but just teach me the rules, or I'll learn the rules on my own. Matter of fact, even when I think about the government, when somebody asks me what Trump can do for me, stay out of my way. That's what Donald Trump could do. Stay out of my way. I don't need the government to succeed. I need y'all to just stay out of my way. Stop poisoning the minds of people forcing them to embrace this victimhood as if they can't get anything accomplished, as if they're living in the worst country in the world, when in reality, they're living in the best country in the world. And the people that are trying to convince us that we're living in the worst country in the world, they know that they're living in the best world, in the best country in the world, and they know that we are, and they're trying to convince us so they can have more power to make sure that they'll be able to live at a high level in the greatest country in the world. So it's all just manipulation. I choose to not be manipulated. A lot of people will probably say, like I said, I'm delusional, or I'm turning my back, or whatever. Like I rock with winners, bro. Like I rock with winners. Because that's how stuff gets done. Losers don't get stuff done. Complainers don't get stuff done. Y'all complain. Y'all try to make the things extremely fair. Y'all try to do all this DEI stuff. That's another thing that just came up. It's all like, what didn't MLK, wasn't Martin Luther King, wasn't he preaching for meritocracy? Wasn't he saying the content of your character, not the color of your skin? Oh, that's only when it's talking about those people. When it talks about us, we should get opportunities just because we're black. We should, like, it's so disrespectful to even, like, do you know how offended I am? Do you know how offended I would be if I went into a job opportunity and I knew that there were other white people, Spanish people, whoever, competing against me for the position, and they told me, like, hey, you know, you got the job, but one of the factors that we used to hire you was you being black. We needed to hire somebody black. I would be so offended. Could you imagine competing against somebody for an opportunity? Take it back to sports. Let's say that you're about to try out for the NBA, the NFL, soccer, I don't know, whatever it is. You realize that you made the team. You get the call that you made the team. But then you find out later on that one of the reasons that you made the team was simply because you're black, they're white. I would feel so insecure and so small. I would really feel that way. Matter of fact, and then contrast that with if I made the team and let's say that I think that America's unfair. Okay, I'm one of these people, I think America's not fair. I'm competing against somebody with certain advantages. Maybe their family has certain connections. I don't know, whatever it is. And I still win. And I still win regardless of all those advantages that other person that I was competing against had. Do you know how empowering and like godly I would feel? And I use that word in particular on purpose because it's like, that's what I feel when I'm encouraged and inspired and when I feel like I can accomplish anything in this world. I feel closer to God. That's why I say I feel godly. I feel that I can accomplish things. I feel that I can make a significant difference. I feel that no matter what's against me, I can still win. That's my American dream. That's my American dream, yo. All these people that I talk to now, these people that I work with a lot of people from Eastern Europe, Europe. And when they tell me their stories about what they came over here with, I can't even believe it. I'm like, yo, you own all these surgery centers. You own this, you own this, you own. And I'm like, but you came over here with nothing? Now, most people, and what I would say before is that, well, you came over here with nothing, but you still benefit from just being white in America because there's so much white privilege. That is out the window. I don't even want to consider it. I want to learn everything that person did. I want to understand why you had the confidence to take the risk that you needed to take in order to get to the position that you can get to now you're paying me. How? What did you do? But if I go into it with the mindset of, oh, they just got in this position because of white supremacy, then I'm going to miss all of the things that they did in order to actually be successful. I'm going to miss out on those things. I'm not trying to miss out on those things. Time is the only thing that I'm competing against. Time is the only thing that I'm competing against. So if I'm not competing against this person, I want to learn the game. I want to learn from, even if I am competing against a person, I want to learn from that individual. So Um, I don't know. Oh, and I saw the last comment. Oh, that's actually wow. Slaves will stay slaves. Yeah, and it's more mental than anything else because there's a whole lot of slaves running around here. Matter of fact, mental slavery is worse than chains, because at least when you're chained up, you know that you're enslaved. This whole mental slavery, this oppression, this victimhood that the Democrats are pushing with all this woke ideology, people don't even understand how much of slaves they are to certain ideologies that the people that are pushing it don't even believe in it, but they're just using it to have more power because they know how silly and ignorant and how easily manipulated the majority of people are. So they prey on that and use it to their advantage, to our detriment. Is the interview coming back? No, that's the interview. So I think what did Sean Hannity say? He said it'll be back on tomorrow. So I think it'll be back on tomorrow. We're probably not going to stay on too much longer, to be totally honest, yo. All right, so can I have a vulnerable moment with y'all? Right? Not to be pushing all that vulnerability on us fellas, but I am. All right, so just so y'all know a little bit, while I got all y'all here, some of y'all may never ever see me. I may never ever be able to share this energy with y'all again. And I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative because I'll be totally honest. When I normally do this show, I've been doing this show. We've done over maybe almost 200 of these shows. Been doing them for about 2 years. And we normally have about 10 to 20 people on. And I always say in my mind, like, if there's 10 people on, I'm like, yo, we got 10,000 people, because I want to project that energy out there. If there's 20 people on, we got 20,000. And I talk to people afterwards. I remember I used to talk to my parents afterwards, and they're not as familiar with this type of technology, obviously, as us that grow up with it. So they used to say, like, yo, you said you had 20,000 people on, like, we only saw 20. And I'd be like, nah, mom and dad, that's the energy that I'm putting out. So to be able to have all of y'all tapped in, like, I'm appreciative of it. It's just this is what I mean when I say y'all are gonna help me wake up inspired tomorrow. Y'all are gonna help me wake up inspired. If you telling me that I can connect with people who I've never met in person, and I can share just my thoughts on something, and right or wrong, people are giving me their feedback. I'm learning. Hopefully y'all are having some takeaways from here as well. Like, life is amazing. Like, life is amazing. Like, the opportunities that we have. Like, you can't tell. This is what I mean when I say, yo, if you want to be rich, then go be rich. Like, you could do it however you want. You can find your passion and, like, just figure out how to become as good as whatever it is that you want to deliver to the world, whatever your purpose is aligned. And my girl Shy, I got to shout out my girl Shy. Shy, you already know what it is, man. I'm over here about to get emotional just because. So Shy's been tapping in, and she'll tell you, like, it's usually about 10 to 20 people. Like, I ain't scared to admit that. You know what I'm saying? But this is the thing. I will never get discouraged. And a lot of it's because of people like Shy. I got my team that's gonna always just lock in. I don't even want to start naming people. I know a few people on here. My parents, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the people that tap in on a consistent basis. And I think I saw some names on here. Uncompetitive is on here. Uncle Brother. It's just dope. It's just dope. Like, we got a dope opportunity to do something amazing. And for all those, I guess I'll leave you with this message. If you don't wake up feeling inspired, then maybe change certain things that you're feeding yourself with, whether that's your food, whether that's the things that you're consuming on TV, on Instagram, whatever it is. If you don't wake up feeling inspired, maybe you need to change your friends, or at least bring a different energy to your friend group. I don't know what it is, because this life, like, we're going to let it go by. And that's my biggest fear of growing old. And my biggest fear, it used to be dying early. But my biggest fear is growing old and looking back at my life and having to look in the mirror and accept the fact that I did not even try to maximize my potential. I did not try to squeeze every amazing drop out of this life that we have. That would be the scariest thing for me. The scariest thing, we are godly creatures. And a lot of us are religious. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual, but I feel like I'm tapped in, and I'm always growing. I'm always growing. You may talk to me tomorrow, and I may have a different answer for you, but I'm always trying to learn, always trying to just do whatever that I can do to kind of connect with a higher frequency, a higher energy. And like I said, if you just wake up feeling inspired, feeling appreciative, feeling grateful, and not just fake grateful, but really understanding, like, yo, let me ask y'all this. Think about a goal that you have right now in your life. Think about a goal that you have right now. And matter of fact, if you got the courage, and if you don't, it's cool. If you got the courage, write it in the chat. Write a goal that your friends would laugh at you, your family would laugh at you. Write one of your goals in the chat right now. Because when you write something, it automatically makes it, you're 42% more likely to accomplish it just by writing it. But when we talk about the goals, and this is what I wanted to ask y'all, think about a goal that you have, even if you don't write it in the chat. What is stopping you from accomplishing that? I'm not talking about the little BS excuses like my day's busy or I got kids or none of that. Your kids should be figure it out. Our intelligence is infinite. Maybe before you go to bed tonight, don't turn on the TV all night. Maybe turn it off a little early and just sit with yourself and really ask yourself. Ask the universe to deliver an answer for you. You may be at work tomorrow and something just comes to you. You're like, yo, I didn't even realize that I was looking at having kids as a setback. And in all actuality, that's something that not only provides more inspiration, but that allows me to kind of do certain things and involve them with something. So figure out in your mind exactly what you want to accomplish. Figure out, be honest with yourself. What's holding you back from getting there? What are the small steps? You don't have to just you could shoot for the moon, but make sure that you're taking the small steps. We call them KPIs. Those are the key performance indicators. Those are the things that you're going to do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, to make sure that you're on track to get that goal at the end of the year or that goal in 5 years. Fall in love with the process, fall in love with the journey. And I'm not speaking to y'all from I'm not speaking to y'all from somebody that has all the answers. I'm just expressing to y'all what I'm figuring out more and more. And like I said, some of these things may change a bit, but this is just what I'm figuring out. Like, nothing's holding us back. The only thing most of the things that are holding us back, we are creating. It's fake fear. It's excuses that allow us to feel good about just not doing the things that we know that we need to do in order to accomplish whatever it is we want to accomplish. Like, don't fall into that victimhood mentality. Don't fall into that making excuses. You can have the best excuse in the world, but it's not going to help you get to your goal. It's just going to, matter of fact, it's probably going to hinder you because it's going to make you feel better about not getting to your goal. So that's what I'm on, man. That's what I'm on. Hold on. I will be running my business 100% by this year. And wow. Yo, hold up. Now you about to get me choked up. Hold up, man. Master of Puppet, bro, you legit got me choked up and gave me some hope for the younger generations with the shit you've been saying, your mindset, your energy, your discipline, your wisdom. Wow. Yo, I'm telling y'all, I'm a product of my environment and a product of, and when I say that, first and foremost, my parents and my brother. My parents and my brother raised me to know, not to believe, to know that I can have anything in this world if I'm willing to work for it. So that's the big if. And that's the fun part. That's the fun part. Like, I talk to people all the time where it's like, even with football, it's like I didn't even appreciate the fun part, the journey, the things that you talk about. Think about your journey, all the stuff that it's going to take to get to where you want to get to. Yes, it's going to be a mountain. Yes, it's going to be a bunch of challenges. Yes, it's going to be a bunch of nights where you're maybe crying and calling home, or wherever you are, calling your parents, crying to them. You're a grown man. It doesn't matter. But you just feel that you're not believing in yourself. those are going to be the stories of how you overcame being in those positions. Those are going to be the things that allow us to look back, and that's going to be how we teach our kids. That's going to be how we are doing our TED talk, and we're talking about those. We're not talking about the things that we did once we won. Oh yeah, yo, I won, so I had all this money and I spent it. Nah, tell me what you did. Tell me about the grind to get the money. And this goes back to how we see things and perspective playing such a role. A lot of kids let's say that you're in a position where you got a lot against you right now. I'm so jealous of you. I'm so envious of you. I say this all the time. The best way for me to describe it is, sometimes I see people who were over or are overweight or were overweight, and I see them along their fitness journey, and I'm like, yo, that's dope. You see how much love and how great they feel about themselves because they went from here and made a super significant difference to here. Like, that's like when people who grow up and they're already wealthy, they get robbed of an opportunity to actually go through all of that stuff that their parents or their grandparents or whoever in their family had to go through. And that's why when you hear that saying, hard times create strong men create easy times create weak men create hard times. Yo, I want them hard times, yo. When my grandkids and my great grandkids and the generations that may never even meet me are hearing stories about me, I want them to be like, yo, he went through it and that was a strong man. Like, that's what I need them to talk to me. Who doesn't want that? Don't y'all, like, I know how I grew up looking at my dad. I'm like, yo, my dad is so funny. You legit believe that your dad is the strongest person in the world. He's Superman. My dad is 5'7", probably been 165 pounds his whole life. And it may be 5'8" depending on he throw on certain shoes when he throws on them Hokas with the big base, the big heel. But I legit used to think like, yo, like what, man? My dad, the strongest, the toughest. Like that's what I really thought. So I want to, like, shame on me if I don't give my kid what my dad gave me at a minimum. At a minimum. You see what I'm saying? So, yo, believe in yourself, man. I don't even know how we even got to this point of having this convo. Y'all just bringing it out of me. But this is, yo, man. Y'all got me fired up. I'm gonna be honest, man. Y'all got me, yo. Do me a favor, y'all, because I'm gonna just keep talking because the numbers, like, it's been around 189, it hasn't gone down. So this is what I'm gonna do. This is what we do at the end of every show. So I'm gonna continue the tradition. So bear with me. This is the most important part of this show. We take 45 seconds at the end. Clear your mind. If you're in a safe place, close your eyes. We use it to manifest whatever it is we want to manifest, to clear our mind if we need to clear our mind, to do our breath work, to talk to whoever it is you need to talk to yourself, talk to a different version of yourself, talk to the future version of it. Whatever it is that you need to do, we take 45 seconds. And in the beginning of the week, we set out every week, Sundays and Mondays, to make this the greatest week ever. What do I need to do every day? What's the plan? So by the time Friday and Saturday gets here, I'm looking like, yo, that was the greatest week ever. So do whatever it is you need to do to put yourself in the right mindset. And this is going to be the focus. Confidence. What do you need to build up your confidence? What do you need to build up your confidence? Like, what do you need to wake up? Like, if it's talking to your girl, like, if it's telling her, like, yo, like, what do I need to do to show up so that way I see you looking at me in a particular way where I'm getting inspired? Like, what do I need to do even separate from how anybody else feels? What do I need to do tomorrow to wake up excited about life? Not miserable because we got to go to work, but grateful of the opportunity. Like, yo, I get to go to work. I get to go to work. Yeah, I hate my job. Well, I'm appreciative of the fact that I get to go to work and have that job while I'm already plotting my next move, moving on to the next move. You see what I'm saying? So that confidence, let's focus on that. What do we need? The more confident we are, the more gracious we are, the more we are It's easier for us to accept new information, the less we're able to be manipulated, bamboozled, all these different things. When we're confident, they can't prey on our insecurities and push all this fear-based mongering. They can't push all this stuff based on them thinking like, oh, we're ignorant, so they can just throw stuff. Be confident. Be confident. It's going to be the nicest version of ourselves. We're going to just be walking like, almost walking to work tomorrow, or walk around the house when you getting the kids ready, the fam ready, or you getting ready by yourself. Walk around as if you gained a couple inches. You feel me? Like you gained a couple inches. Like that's how you. I'm talking about height. See, get y'all. Hey, whatever it is that you need to imagine. All right, y'all get the point. Y'all get the point. Walk around like them confidence, like you gained a couple inches, man. Like you walking around a little taller than normal. That's all right. So 45 seconds. Do what it is that you need to do. Like I said, if you're doing your breath work, focus on every breath that you inhale in positive energy. Every breath that you let out, exhale in negative energy. Focus on whatever it is that you need to focus on. And because I'm telling y'all, we finna have fun, man. We finna have fun with this life. This life is supposed to be fun. Think about it. Every loss, we just turn that into a lesson. Every win, we celebrate, put that energy out to get an even bigger win. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? The only sad part is sometimes people aren't around to experience all the fun with us. So let's just make sure that we're taking advantage and being efficient with getting to our goals. And we don't have to wait till we get to the ultimate goal to have fun. Let's enjoy time with our family. Let's think about the things that are important to us. My mindset used to be, I want to retire my parents, or then when they retired, I'm like, oh, I got to work hard so they can get this car, they can get that. Nah, my mindset is totally different. Like I want to figure out what can my parents and I and my family, Maya, my brother, like Fran, like what can we do to compete as a team together? That's my goal now, to compete with my family, to compete with my parents. We've never been on the same team. I remember being the last time I played basketball with my dad was up in Martha's Vineyard and my brother. And this was the last time that we all played together. And that was one of the dopest memories. And it was around that age where I remember the other team had like a good player. And it's like, nah, I got that dude. Like, matter of fact, oh, you trying to take advantage of my, like, I got, you know what I mean? That was the mindset that I had. I don't even know if that was the truth of how it really went down. But my goal is to compete with my parents and my family, my brother, and my future wife, my future. Can you say future fiance? It should just be a fiance now, and my sister-in-law. So that's what I'm on. 45 seconds. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place. Time starts now. Two more breaths. Inhaling positive, exhaling all the BS, all the haters, all that negative energy. We getting rid of that. Inhaling all the positive, inhaling it from a different perspective. You hating on me, that's just inspiration. That's all it is. Exhaling all of the BS. Yo, appreciate y'all. When I tell y'all that I love y'all, I know a lot of y'all I probably never met in person, may never meet in person. I say may, who knows? Maybe we'll all link up. Maybe we'll be able to share energy in person, but I really do appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And let's just win. Let's just have fun in life. Let's just be the people that when every interaction with us, people are just looking like, yo, you got good energy, man. Like, I just like being around you. Like, that's the goal, man. That's the goal. Get the money, get everything else that you need. Uncle brother, see, I shouted my big bro out earlier. Uncle brother, it's funny, I didn't even see you come up on the screen, but I knew that I felt your energy here. Man, appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Onward and upward, strength and honor. Y'all know what we come here to do. For those that don't, we are here on the OG Network to elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint, as well as challenging ourselves to raise our standards. Raising our standards is the only way that we're going to become the leaders that we need in our community, our village, our tribe, our family, now more than ever. And raising our standards is the only way that we're going to turn into the person that we need to grow into in order to accomplish those things, those audacious goals that all of us have. All right. Just keep open. Just let the goals keep growing as we keep chopping that wood. We like to say on this show, make sure that you get into that bag. Getting to that bag is not just about money, may not be at all about money. But getting to the bag, those are the things that I mentioned earlier, those key performance indicators, those KPIs. So literally imagine yourself throughout the week, you got your bag and you're collecting all of those things that you're checking off your to-do list in order to make sure that you're on pace to make this the greatest week ever. Those are the things that you're throwing in your bag. That's the focus. What do I focus on? Peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and in everything that we do, integrity. Y'all decide what's going to be in y'all bag. On that note, Uncle Brother already sent the gang. That's how we finish off every show. Usually my brother Queez is here to send the fire emojis. But let's just win, man. Let's win. Let's show grace, and let's compete to our greatest ability. Maximizing our potential is not only how we honor God, but it's how we honor our families and everybody in our life that has made a sacrifice for us to have a chance, have an opportunity of working towards success. So on that note, I'll see y'all soon. Make sure that y'all like. And if you're feeling real generous, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and we'll see y'all Friday at 8 a.m. All right? See y'all soon.